Radio across the UK, online, on DAB, and on your smart speaker. Bob Mills on Talk Radio.
Hello and welcome back. You're listening to me, Bob Mills. If you want to take part in the show, you can give us a call, 0344 499 1000. You can text the word talk and your message to 87222. That'll cost you 25p plus your normal network charges. Or you can tweet at Talk Radio or at Bob Mills TT. Have we not got any more mystery voices? Remember we used to do them? Sometimes people used to tweet in to say, mystery voice, don't know who it is, but they don't sound that interesting, so I'm not really bothered. Okay, let's see what we've got next. I'll tell you what we've got next. Is it Dave Chawner? Is Dave Chawner waiting to talk? Is Dave? Hello, Dave.
Hello, mate. I thought you were going to introduce me by saying, I don't know who this is and I don't care.
You say, if only I could think that quick on my feet, Dave.
I've been introduced as worse, Bob, to be honest.
No, I don't believe this. How are you? Are you well? Are you safe? Are you warm?
Very safe, very well, very warm. Loving this weather, to be honest. My girlfriend's Northern Irish, so she's like Olaf from Frozen. She just seems to melt in the heat, but I absolutely love her.
At some point, I'd always say, it'd be all right if I was in a pool.
Yeah. To be honest, I don't know any situation where it would not be better if you had a cocktail or a lager with a pool. You know what I mean?
February the 9th, whatever the weather, would be better in a pool with a cocktail.
Yeah.
Listen, I was invited onto Alistair Stewart's show, which is a rather grand summons to have, on Alistair Stewart's show, and talk about Spit and Image. We're going to talk about the return of it. Let me tell you the point that I made to see if you think that I was talking, any sense at all. I said that they would have problems, for two reasons. A, because the world as we live it now has transcended satire, but also to make the puppets work, they have to be grotesque. They have to be almost Roy Elliott type things of the real characters. And with the way that the world is today, I think you'll run into problems with that when you're doing David Lammy or Diane Abbott or Sadiq Khan or people like that. I think people are very easily offended by things, and I think that will be a bridge that they will have to cross.
You see, I don't know about the offence thing, but I do think that the amount of times that I've heard this year people say this is like an episode from The Thick of It, that I just think politics is getting so cartoonish that some of the plot lines that they would write, people are like, well, actually, much worse than this has and continues to happen. So I don't find it that farcical.
You see, they're talking about Dominic Cummings. When you look at the puppet that they've done of Dominic Cummings, it's actually Dominic Cummings in a with a sort of devilly sort of flicker, but it's actually it's him. That's who it is. When you see Dominic Cummings, he is a caricature of a spiteful little bloke at the football.
I think the best way to put it is he's like a mixture between Mr. Burns and E.T. and that's the real person. That's not even the puppet. The weirdest one is Mark Zuckerberg, and I don't know if you've seen that one, but his skin is like a light blue. He looks like a Smurf that's got asphyxiation. It's really scary, but I don't know if this is something you think about, whether it's the old or the new Spitting Image. Those puppets are all universally terrifying.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm sort of glad that they're doing it, but what I don't want, what would really be upsetting is if it came out and it was like, nah. See, the other thing, I was just looking back, you probably know more about it than me, but just when I was looking back did I mention I was on Alistair Stewart's show? I think I did. As an invited guest. When I was looking back, of course, I started to remember, it didn't go out at the very top of its game. It didn't go out because, they've done something so outrageous.
Well, this is what's really interesting, and it's a really good point, because not many people pick it up. At its peak, it was £300,000 per episode. It was actually the most expensive light entertainment show that at that point in time had ever been made. And they actually took it to the US, and it was loved by critics in the US, but the rating didn't get off the ground, and I don't think they made it even one series in the US. So it's going to be interesting if they've got that here. I mean, you are in good hands. So the team that produced it are a company that I'm sure you will have heard of, and maybe some of the listeners. They're called Avalon. So they've produced TV shows like Taskmaster, Russell Howard's Good News, etc. So it's a good team behind it, but it's whether this thing that was fresh and it was so pushing at the boundaries can find that gold again.
It's been made by Avalon. It's as if They're trying to take over the world. Avalon, for anyone who doesn't know, they're a huge broadcast now. They're spreading their, I don't want to use the word tentacles because I want to work again when the pandemic finishes, but they spread their net far and wide. They do an awful lot of things, but they were originally, and still I think are mainly an agency for comedians. Any comedian you've ever seen do anything funny ever probably works for Avalon. Do you know what, Dave? I think the comedy world is going to be much, much smaller. Listen, I understand and I appreciate all the efforts people are making to get theatre back in me, but I don't want to go to a comedy club where people are sitting 3 meters apart.
Well, it doesn't work like that, but then online comedy absolutely doesn't work.
I was on a web chat, not a web chat, a WhatsApp thing with a couple of other comics. And made the mistake of saying, listen, let me tell you, it's going to be a while before because comedy does not work in rooms that are a third full. So they tweet about, and you would know.
Well, I don't know if you saw, there's a brilliant meme that's been doing the rounds of someone tweeting out saying, I went to my first Zoom funeral today and it was sad, but not half as sad as a Zoom comedy show. And I thought that was so on the nose.
Dave, lovely talking to you.
You too.
Speak soon, look after yourself. Dave Chawner.
Talk Radio.